you want to take a look at your quiz and you want to take note of where your issues are. Obviously, if your problem is anywhere 1 through 12, you've got big problems. You have got to know what formulas go with what shapes, and you've got to recognize those shapes. Now, that's key. If you can't put the right formula with the right shape, then you have no hope. So correct that, all right? Maybe you missed some of them. A few of you, I wrote a big ouch across there because you missed multiple ones of those. Devin, that's not gum, is it? Okay. You missed numbers of the multiple choice here. And look, this is the easiest way I can give it to you as a multiple choice, instead of just having you write out each formula yourself. So there's no reason not to get these except for the fact that you haven't reviewed enough. Okay. Now, I agree, some people in here, their memory is better than others, and they remember things more quickly, but honestly, anybody can remember them. But look, there are numbers of things that can confuse you, right? A lot of stuff similar. And that's why it's going to take some review to get it down. But if you have trouble in 1 through 12, then you have trouble. You got to clean that up between today and tomorrow, okay? That's got to be the starting point, and then we've got to be able to use the formulas. So again, take note of the things that are getting you and make those corrections. It'd be a shame if tomorrow's test you missed the exact same formulas. What would that tell you if you were the teacher? If the student missed the exact same ones? It would tell me that they didn't do anything from the quiz to the test. And they'd have to be pretty dumb to think that anything would change in their ability to get the problems, right? So do something about it. You can. You have today to do something about it, and tonight. Do something about it. You can. Get a good test here. All right, with 13 and 14, your issues would be correct formula and then correct numbers. So, of course, with 13, you got to say to yourself, well, that's a triangle. Here, if a triangle, don't forget the half. Now, look, here, this would be a big shame. It would really be a shame if up here you said D for area of a triangle, 1/2 base height, and then when you went to do the formula down here, you used the wrong formula. Matter of fact, that would be more than a shame. That would be very stupid. And the real word and sense of the word stupid, does that have anything to do with IQ? No. If you had an IQ enough to get it right here, you are just lazy and stupid not to look up there and make sure you're using the right formula. All right, don't do that. Don't do that. All right, then the other thing that you have to be careful with, not only do you have to choose the right formula, you got to choose the right values, right? And remember on this one, 18 had to be the height. Therefore, the base, the side of the triangle that's the base, is the side perpendicular to it, right? So you had to use the half, 32 times 18. All right? That'll get you through any triangle, no matter how it's rotated, no matter what the situation. But figure out what the height is first, and then that'll tell you which of the three sides of the base. Now, for number 14, you had to recognize this is a trapezoid, right? You have to recognize the trapezoid shape. Again, what is a trapezoid? Four-sided, okay, with one pair of parallel sides. That is four-sided with one pair of parallel sides. And again, remember, base 1 and base 2 are the parallel sides. No matter how the thing's rotated, no matter what, how it's spun, the parallel sides are always base 1 and base 2. What is always the height? The perpendicular distance. Sometimes it'll be given in here, right? But is that value any different than that bottom value? No, right? They're exactly the same amount of distance. Now, again, be careful. Once you recognize the correct formula, you recognize what are the bases, you put in all the correct values, you still have to do the order of operations to get it correct, right? You must order of operations evaluate things inside the parentheses first, right? You got to add up those two. Then everything's multiplication. It doesn't matter the order after that. So just make sure you follow order of operations. Any questions on the front page? Anything else, anybody? Anything I need to clarify for you that'll help you tomorrow? Anybody? Okay, back. So again, you're just working your way through. And by the way, any two-dimensional shape, it's got to be area. Any three-dimensional shape, it's going to be volume. Right? Remember, area is the number of square units that cover a two-dimensional surface or just a surface. Volume is the number of cubic units to fill a three-dimensional figure. Right? So 15's got to be just area. It's two-dimensional. Hopefully you look at it and say, oh, that's a parallelogram. Formula, if you forgot, look in the front, base times height. And now again, what is your base? Well, remember, that's got to be the height. And the height is always perpendicular to the base. Therefore, that's got to be the base. You don't use the 20 at all, right? That 20 is just a number that doesn't get used. It's not needed to find the area. All you need is the base times the height. So again, figure out what you're doing wrong and make those corrections. Come down to number 16. Okay, now we got volume because we got a three-dimensional figure, right? Area of the base, 1/3 area of the base times height. Anything that comes to a point, pyramid or cone, is 1/3. Again, here would be the shame if you don't have the third there, but over here you use the correct formula. That would be a shame. You don't want to do that. Make sure you got the correct formulas. Okay, so again, area of the base is the shaded area. That's a base times a height. The height of a pyramid or a cone is the perpendicular distance from the base to the peak. This 14 is not needed and not used. Right? The height of the pyramid is the 12. Don't forget the third. Don't forget your units. Okay, 1/3 base times height times height. Okay. Any questions on those two? Your parallelogram and your pyramid? Anybody? Questions? Okay. Now you get to a prism. Now be careful. There's no point, right? So volume of a prism is just area of the base times the height. For a prism, any of the sides can be the base, and then the height is the distance between the bases. Well, if you go with the shaded, the base is a rectangle, base times height. And therefore, then the perpendicular distance between the two bases is right there. And so 22 times 32 times 40. And remember, cubic centimeters times centimeters times centimeters, cubic centimeters. Okay? Number 18. Volume of a sphere. Again, look to the front. It's a whole lot easier when you're doing a matching. 4/3 pi r cubed. All right, be careful now. That is the radius. So this was as easy as I could give it to you. What if instead I gave you the circumference, right? That number would come somewhere along this inner circle, right? That would be a circumference. Do you agree? You'd have to use the circumference formula to get the radius, and now you can finish with the formula. What if instead I gave you a line like this, and I put the value dead center? What does that indicate? A diameter, right? the line goes all the way through, and the number's right at that center point, that's a diameter. See, this number is in between these 2 points. It's a radius. This is in between these 2 points. That's a diameter. So be ready for that, right? Radius is always half the diameter, and then you can finish the problem. Be careful punching it out. Easiest way, evaluate your exponents first. Then I multiply times that, and finish by dividing by the 3. All right, and then the bonus, if the area of a parallelogram was 84 meters squared, and the height is 7, what's the length of the base? That when you say to yourself, I need the area of a parallelogram formula, you say it's base times height. All right, they gave me the area, 84 meters squared. They told me that the height is 7 meters. I got to find the base. Piece of cake. Things multiplied times the variable. I move by multiplying by the reciprocal, or I can use the shortcut. 84 divided by 7, and our units are meters, and you get 12 meters. And that's the bonus. Any questions on anything on the back? Anybody? Any questions? Okay, so you need your calculator, scratch paper. You can work in your book where there's space, but you need to be working the problems. That's when you're going to get the most benefit. Let's go to our chapter review. Somebody tell me the page number. Page number 588. 588. Okay. Gotta be careful with my time. So let's start off with number 11. You don't have to rewrite the original. You can do it in your book, or you can just put your scratch paper by it. If you want to redraw it, go ahead, but don't take forever redrawing it. Work the problem. Figure out the area of that shape. Number 11. Actually, this one's looking for the height, isn't it? All right. Tell you what, I'm gonna. You know what? I don't want to get you guys too far afield. Is that the only trapezoid in the whole thing? Chapter reviews, I'll tell you. All right. Let's skip that. Let's go to 20. You could do that problem, but I don't want it for time's sake. I just reviewed one where you're solving for a height, and I don't want to do another one right now if we have time, maybe. All right, try 20. 20 is good practice. I want the area of the colored region, the blue area. Find the blue area. Find the blue area. Find the blue area. All right. If you're working at home, go ahead and pause it and go ahead and work it. close to wrapping up. Keep working if you're working. Those of you that are done, more than 20 or less than 20. More than 40 or less than 40. More than 60 or less than 60. Okay, you are in the ballpark. It's just, are you on the East Coast or the West Coast? That's the question. All right, on 3, give me your solution. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. All right, I heard a lot of 51 meters squared, which is great. That is the value, right? 51 meters squared. That is a trapezoid. Hey, do not get drawn in if there's a number here, right? You don't need it. Don't worry about it if it's there. Now, they didn't put one there. You know me, I'll put one there, okay? Because I want to make sure you know what numbers to use. You don't need that, right? It's not involved with the base or the height of that trapezoid, so we don't use it. It's okay. You don't have to use every number given. So be prepared for that. Remember, any whole gets subtracted, right? So area of a trapezoid minus area of that rectangle, the whole, and that'll give you the total area. Any questions on that, anybody? How many got that right? All right, bunch of you. Again, take note of what's getting you. Look, don't sit there saying, oh, I can't get these things. These things are impossible. I'm never going to get them. That kind of thinking will cause you to never get them. Instead, think, all right, let me figure out what am I doing wrong here? Let me figure out what's getting me. Let me fix it. Fix it. Fix it. You can do that. All right, fix what's getting you. All right, let's do another one. And again, these are a little bit trickier because they're kind of double things. Oh, let's do 17. Let's do 17. Number 17. Going to have to make one assumption on this problem, but see what you can do with it. I'll try not to give you problems where you have to assume something. This one you have to make an assumption. Done already? Guys, that quick? Is the easiest way to do it, right? And add up the two areas, right? And these are both base times height. So the first area, base is 3 centimeters, that's obvious. And the height is 8 centimeters, that's obvious. Area 2, they don't tell us this, right? They don't tell us that. Because to me, it looks like this 2 centimeters is right here. Now, maybe they mean it's here, but it looks to me like it's that left side. However, doesn't that look like a square? So, again, you got to assume that this is also 2 centimeters. There's no other way to do the problem. Again, I won't leave you in doubt. I'll give you enough numbers to figure it out. Not that I might not. Remember, sometimes we'll leave numbers undone and you can figure it out from the other numbers given, right? This one, though, they needed to give you something else to be sure. But you got to assume that's a 2. And then 4 centimeters the height of that area. So what do we get? 24 centimeters squared plus 8 centimeters squared. Grand total, how many got 32 centimeters squared? Okay. hopefully that makes sense for you in that kind of a problem, in that kind of an issue. All right, I'm just not liking any of their problems. I'm going to start giving you my own. Because again, you got to have a little bit more involved. Let's do another one. All right, here's your, we'll just call it number 3. Let's go feet. Find the area of that shape. Find the area of that shape. More than 15, less than 15. 20, 25, 30. Bingo, right? All right, hopefully you got 30 square feet. Because again, for any right triangle, one of the sides at a right angle is the height and the other is the base, or vice versa. It doesn't really matter. The two that are perpendicular are always the base and height of a right triangle. So it doesn't matter either one. How many got that right? Again, take note what's getting you. Take note of what's getting you. Take note of what's getting you. All right, let's get to something a little bit more interesting. All right, give me the volume of number 31. Just the volume. Volume of number 31. Volume of 41. More than 100 or less than 100? 200. 200? Is this the one with the third or not? Does it come to a point? You know where? Where do you see a point? Okay, no point, no third. All right, it is more. More than 300 or less than 300? More. 400? About 351.68. All right, again, if it comes to a point, it's a cone or a pyramid, and that's when you use the third. It does not come to a point, it's not a cone or a pyramid, it's just area of the base times height. How many got that correct? Okay, good amount of you. And again, take note if it got you. If it got you, do what you need to do to make sure you don't get got. All right, 33. Give me the volume of 33. This one's hard to draw. Oh, by the way, the units last time were cubed, weren't they? Cubed, not squared. Anytime you're doing volume, you're going to be cubed. More than 20 or less than 20? Not mine. Not mine. Am I thinking right? Hold on a second. Oh, wait a minute. I was doing a quantity. All right, hold on a second. Oh, what did I say? 20, 30, 40, 50. Ballpark. All right. So I get for doing it in my head. 48 centimeters cubed. How many agree? All right. Be careful now. You had to use base and height of the base is easy, 6 and 6. But remember, the height of the pyramid or cone is perpendicular to the base up to the middle point. This one is not perpendicular to the base. It's only perpendicular to that side. This one in the middle is perpendicular to the base, giving you the height of the pyramid. So you got to use the 4, not the 5. How many use the 5? Okay, it's the wrong one. That's perpendicular to just the line segment of the base. The 4 is perpendicular to the whole base and up. All right. Again, if I had a picture of a pyramid, I'd show you with the picture. But a pyramid and a cone for you guys are always going to be in the center, perpendicular to the base. This is along the side of the pyramid. The 4 goes from the middle up. And again, the picture in your book is better than my picture. Jordan. Yes, but again, it's perpendicular not to the whole base, just to this line segment alone. That's what it is. See, this triangle, this pyramid is made up of lateral surfaces that are triangles, right? That 5 is that. Now, that's the height of one of the side triangles, but it's not the height of the pyramid. It's only the height of one of the side triangles. You don't use that value for volume. You need the height of the whole pyramid, the one that's in here going from the peak to the base, and that was the 4, okay, inside the pyramid. Again, I wish I had my plastic ones. I'd show it to you. All right, wow, time is flying when you're having fun. All right, I want to do something. I want to figure out the volume of the New Jerusalem. Now somebody, I think they made it a little bit big. It's a tad bigger than I think it should be, but it's close. The New Jerusalem is bigger than you would think. They're showing you the comparison to the United States, being we have a general idea of the size of the United States. So the formula, of course, is volume of a cube, which is length times width times height, or area of the base times the height. Same thing. Now, in Revelation 21, we're told about the New Jerusalem. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. Let's see if I can get that to go away. It's going to let me do it. Come over here. Come over there. Okay. Let's see if we can find the next thing that talks about the dimensions. Okay, 16. And the city lieth 4 square, and the length is as large as the breadth, and they measured the city with the reed 12,000 furlongs. That is a measure of length. The length and the breadth and the height of it are, what's that word? Equal. It's a cube, right? It's a cube of 12,000 furlongs. Now, I don't want to take too much time with this, but 12,000 furlongs. I'm just going to go FU. You don't need to write this. Just watch. Okay, we got to do unit conversions. Now, you don't know this, but every 1 furlong is 660 feet. But we don't want feet, right? Remember unit conversions? We want miles. And every 1 mile is 5,280 feet, right? Take your calculator, multiply 12,000 times 660, and divide by 5,280. Whoever it was that said the dimensions a while ago, they were way off. Hope it wasn't you. Oh, man, I'm sorry. Because that's how big it is. No. Not even close. They're going to tell you, how many miles is this? Huh? 1,500 miles cubed. Cube. 1,500 miles by 1,500 miles by 1,500 miles. All right. Now we'll figure out how many cubic miles. Do 1,500 times 1,500 times 1,500. Question, Andrew, or answer? Give it to me. Scientific notation? Somebody give it to me. Who can read it? Go ahead, Gabe. 3,375,000,000. And we'll leave it at that. And actually like that. Yeah, that's about right. Anybody else get that? 3 billion? Yeah. That's how many cubic miles. So if there's 3 billion people in the New Jerusalem, we can all have a cubic mile, mile by mile. Whoa. By mile. It's that big. It's big. It's huge. There's a lot of space. 1,500 miles by 1,500 miles by 1,500 miles high. A lot of space. Jordan. Is that literally how many people are going to be there? And many people trust Christ as Savior. I'll tell you this. Matthew says, broad is the way and wide is the gate that leadeth to destruction. I'm not quoting exactly, but straight is the gate and narrow is the way that leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. I can tell you that. I can tell you this, in two judgments alone of Revelation, the first one, 1/4 of the world's population is killed and go to hell. And in the second one, 1/3 of what's left, which is another 1/4, die and go to hell. That's half the world's population die and go to hell during the tribulation alone in just 2 judgments, let alone all the others. And again, remember, the narrow way is the way of salvation. The Bible says, few there be that find it. Unfortunately, in our day and age, there's going to be a lot of people that believe that they're on their way to heaven, and it's not going to be the case, unfortunately. They think they're born again. They don't have the Holy Spirit inside. They've never been born again. They're not a new creature in Christ. Old things haven't passed away. All things haven't become new. They don't have a desire for God and for things that are right. Unfortunately, it's the narrow way. That is the case. All right, so I thought that was interesting. A cube, being we were doing volume. A lot of space. Hope you're going to be there. I'm planning on being there. Got lots of space to hang out and such and to rule from. All right, be careful with your test tomorrow. You've got a couple quizzes. You've got notes to review. Will there be questions off the old test? Always. A lot of problems. Probably not, because we've got a whole host of problems to do this chapter. But review that previous test. Some of the short answers, maybe some of the matching, stuff like that. Make sure that you can do your area and volume and don't mix up the two. Any questions for me? Anybody? Pertaining to tomorrow's test. Anybody? Any questions? All right, we will stop there.